Opposing Gloves here, and today we're going to be looking at upwards compression and expansion, mostly just upwards compression in a mix. The expansion thing, because I told you that my difference in the previous video, I don't use it too often unless I'm getting creative. So first, this is my track, it's called Jumpsuit, and my first example is this kick. So I'm using upwards compression to emphasize the transient of this kick, and I am now using multi-band effect. So I've shown you what can happen in the IR, FIR, and linear phase filter video as far as it's concerned. Now here, I don't care. I'm going to color my sound anyways, and I quite like the way it sounds, and I know what I can do with Maximus, so I grab Maximus. I'm just used to using it, and I like it anyways, so I'm not going to go around defending this. Sometimes you can change your bands. You can move where those cutoffs are to get the ones that you want. But what I'm doing here is I'm taking the low frequencies, the mid frequencies, and the highs, and I'm changing them according to my liking. Now, when I'm doing upward, now this is all basically upwards compression because I'm not doing anything like crazy. There's no shape that upwards compression really can achieve. I mean, this is a little specific, but I could probably remove that and not really tell like a very big difference. This is a little more... This is expansion, sort of. But let's go ahead and talk about this. So first, let's remove the Maximus and EQ. So that's what I had. And then I said, hey, I'm going to EQ, make this sound a bit bigger, and I threw this curve on it. You see, I found a spot that I like to boost, this spot I liked, and then I cut out some of the highs and like that, and the lows. I just didn't want anything guaranteed down there. So I went ahead and did a roll off like that, and I wound up with this. So without... without, with. So you can hear it just sort of pops out a little bit more. It's not like these aren't like enormous differences. And I'm monitoring kind of soft right now. So this is something I definitely turn up. Because this is the mix down. There's no mastering channel on this project. So I was monitoring much louder when I did this. Then we have Maximus. Okay, so in Maximus, I'm sorry for the lip smacking. I know some of you guys don't like that. In Maximus, I have here these 3 bands. I'm not touching the master. You could touch the master if you want to. I don't want to, so I didn't touch it. I wanted to specifically treat each band as its own thing. You may consider coming in here, changing the bands that you're processing. You can get very, very different sounds just by changing what's considered in what band. So here I did, for the low frequencies, I boosted. Now this low one is like very important. If I get rid of this low one, if I turn it off, that's what I have with it. So this is adding the low thump and punch to my sound. And as you can see, it's just a general curve. I'm just generally expanding it. And that's literally all it is. I just open it up and do that. I don't mess with too many of the other settings in this case. Sometimes I've recently gotten a little more complicated and I'll actually touch a number of these now. But it's really, really simple as far as like, I just want more low end thump and punch. I'm going to rig my EQ to give me a little bit more down there. And then I'm going to come in here and change it. Then by changing this guy, I can effectively change the envelope of the kick, and I can also change the tuning in many cases of the kick where I put this, especially if it's a bigger boost. It totally depends on what I'm trying to do and the type of kick I'm working with. So that's that. Our next one is this mid band, and I'm expanding this slightly, and that's all I'm doing. This is where a lot of the mid-range snap and sort of, I don't want to call it snap. It's like a mid-range punch. Like, let me show you. We could do something like this, right? And so I want to leave the first part of this envelope alone. I don't want to touch it. I want it to just come through. And then once it hits this level, you'll hear the snap, and I'll emphasize it. So you see, you get that sort of a sound. Now, if that's the sound I wanted, then great. But that wasn't the sound that I wanted. I wanted something a little more gentle across the whole thing. So I went with something like that. So you see, it's a little more subdued. It's just the sound I wanted. And then on the highs, I did do that. And that's what's causing the highs to come through the way they are. Now with the highs, sometimes you boost it just a little bit and like, holy crap, it sounds totally different. Other times you could do more extreme settings and there's like no difference. But without the compression on the highs, that's what we had with it. So I see it brings that out. So that's what I did to the kick to get the kick to sound the way I want. And maybe this isn't the kick you want, but you see you have an enormous amount of flexibility just by manipulating the bands. Let's go ahead and move over to the voice. That's my next example. And then we will be done. And that is this guy right here. And it sounds like this.
Jumpin', jumpin', jumpin' suit. Jumpin', jumpin', jumpin' suit.
Oh yeah, jumpin' suit. And you see I have a similar EQ followed by Maximus. Now of course it doesn't have to be Maximus. It could be anything expanding wise. And you notice that I don't use the master band very often for this. I'm usually grabbing it for these because it's very, very powerful tonal shaping capabilities. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these guys off. And this is what I had.
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', jumpin',
You
jumpin'.
can really tell that low end come out. And so I went ahead and made it a lot more thin.
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', jumpin', jumpin'.
So I'm EQing for definition. It's also a little bit of complementary EQing and the fact that I pretty much just roll that part off because I don't want that. That's where my kick's going to live and some other elements. So I don't want that down there. So I'm going to go ahead and rid myself of that and just do that. And I found a spot up here that I like. So I decided to push my voice higher up into the spectrum. Then it is met with Maximus.
Jumpin', 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 Sue.
Now, without Maximus,
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', jumpin'.
you see it sort of sags a little bit at different spots. And I need to be more even because of a track like this, it's going to be very consistently pounding. So I need my voice to sit in the same spot. So I don't want to go in and out, in and out, in and out. So I go ahead and fix it.
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', 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 Sue.
Now you notice there's some more noise in the background. It's not a big deal because of the track and how full it's going to sound. It's already been mixed. So I've already dealt with that. I've tried different things and found something that I liked. So the noise is no problem. And of course, when you're doing moves like this, you're going to be listening to other parts and setting your levels again, just doing all madness of things. Okay. So we have here our low, mids, and highs. I didn't touch the lows because I rolled off the lows. They are still there though.
Jumpin', jumpin'.
But I didn't want to eliminate them anymore. I just didn't want to touch them. So I went ahead and just did nothing. I could even just turn this off. But I'm going to leave it on because, you know, it's doing stuff. Who knows? So here we go. Next up is the mids. And I'm just doing general upwards expansion. This case, I don't want to affect the envelope of the sound. Over here, I want there to be a very, like a point where it goes soft, loud. Like I'm emphasizing a different part of the envelope. If I do something like that with my voice, like if I do something like this, it's going to bring out parts of my voice. It's sort of more of a rhythmic sense, but I don't want to emphasize anything like that. So if I do something like that.
Jumpin', 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 Sue.
So you see like jump, jump. So maybe, I mean, for this, it could actually work quite well, but I went for something a little more general.
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', jumpin'.
And then on the highs, I do a similar thing. And you see, I push these up quite far for high frequencies. Now in sound design, these moves can get really extreme. I could have like enormous, like up, I could boost everything up to its max because maybe I filtered it out and I'm just being really creative with sound design.
Jumpin', 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 Sue.
But without it,
Jumpin', 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 Sue.
with it.
Jumpin', 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 Sue.
And of course, I'm also impacting this by what I do here. Now let's go ahead and listen to it in the mix.
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', jumpin', jumpin'.
So you can hear the masking jump in there immediately. Like you hear all parts of the sound are being removed somewhere. That's why sometimes it might sound bright and all of a sudden it fits quite nicely is because there's a lot more frequency content hitting each other. And so it creates various phase relationships that didn't exist before. And also just masking. So let's come over to a part with the big kick. This is kind of a nifty part. And let's listen to it first without a compressor on the kick and without a compressor on...
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin'.
Not that part. Without a compressor on the kick and...
Jump, 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 jumpin', Sue.
On, yeah, okay, so here. So we're going to turn that off as well. Okay, cool. So we've got this.
Jump, 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 jump.
So we've got this kick coming in.
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jump, 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 jumpin', Sue.
So like it's all right, but we could do some stuff. So let's go ahead and fix up some things by turning our compressor back on both of those elements and check it out.
Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jumpin', 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 Sue. Jump, 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 jumpin', Sue.
So with the kick, it's just really important. So these things make a large impact to the track. And again, this is the mix down, so it's not as loud as the final master. It's substantially softer actually because yeah, I'm gonna master it after. So I'm not aiming for loudness, I'm aiming for clarity and punch. So I'll be monitoring this, much louder than I am currently. If you have any questions, let me know. If you found this useful, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.